Welcome back, everybody, to the Attract and Stand Out podcast. My name is Darlene Hawley, and I am so excited for today's guest. We're going to be talking to Kuti Mack. He's reinvented himself as the root of Be Your Best Daily philosophy and of his personal story. After more than 15 years of building a successful career as a music industry executive, he desired to build a new career that aligned most closely with his life's personal mission, helping others. And he's done this through food, nutrition, and as a personal trainer. So welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thanks, Darlene.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. So before we dive too far in, though, I just want to check in. How are you doing? Like, we're at the beginning of 2021. It's been a roller coaster year. We're actually coming up on at the time of this recording, we're coming up on right about a year when the world kind of closed down on us. So how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I know you're in DC, so I'm sure a lot's been going on up there.
Yeah, a lot's been going. Typical answer that people would want to hear, especially given the framing of being in the DC area in 2020 and COVID. I'll be honest. Most of last year, aside from the very legitimate upheaval that the world went through, COVID, I've been fortunate in the sense that personally, I haven't been affected by COVID in terms of me getting sick or my family, my nuclear family. I have had uncles that were hit with COVID. They all survived, but it was touching aunts, cousins, friends, clients. Well, actually, friends of clients. And no, clients. Geez, I forgot about that. Clients. And I, from the very beginning, saw firsthand how devastating COVID could be. A year ago, when it was all brand new and it wasn't, we still didn't even know what the 19 in COVID stood for yet, and I had friends that were like going down, and the doctor, when doctors are bewildered, that's not a good sign. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be on a plane. Oops, like when a doctor going on and you're at their mercy and they just send you home and say good luck. That's oof. So I mean, and I guess I'm learning more and more that I'm an empath. So I wasn't going through it, but I was going through it. And the thing that helped me take COVID seriously, honestly, was that I saw when COVID first came about, when I first arrived, 2019-ish, something like late February, early March. I, like everybody else, thought it was like another thing, like, SARS or the flu, whatever. And honestly, not being arrogant, but just being confident in my lifestyle and the choices that I make in terms of nutrition and my immune system and my habits, I wasn't worried about it at all. Even right now, I'm not as worried about it as other people would be. That said, what I did take very seriously was within a week of being made aware of COVID, I was still training. I'm one of those people in the gym that's even before I was a trainer, I cleaned everything before I used it and everything after I used it. And so when COVID came, I just got gloves, Lysol, masks. Before I even were talking about masks, it was just like, hey, look, I'm going to keep working because I don't let anything stop me from working and helping people get healthy. And I was just spraying the air with Lysol and all kinds of stuff. But within a week, I got introduced to the notion of being an air. And I sat and looked at I'm blessed that I have a ton of clients that range the gamut in age from almost 90 down to college age, co-eds. And I'm bouncing between gyms and houses and places and people and my own family. And my father had been critically ill all of 2019. Literally, like, I saw him die 4 times. He's still here. He's actually doing better now than he was in 2018. he's doing great right now. But my point being that I still help him out. I could myself being on the news where they go, BYBD trainer, Kuti Mack trained these people and they all got sick. And, and I was not that happen. I take people's health and well-being so seriously. That's why I do what I do. And so it would run absolutely counter to who I am and what I'm about to be like, well, I'm going to be fine. So I'm just going to keep moving around amongst people and good luck to them. That's not how I operate. And so because of that, I shut everything down immediately and I went to virtual training.
Yeah.
And honestly, from a business perspective, I skyrocketed because I'm fortunate enough to be able to be on platforms like yours, television, radio, satellite radio, etc. And before, all that did was get me more fans.
Yeah.
Now I could train anybody anywhere because I was virtual. So for me, it was a blessing. Like now, because of COVID. So I do take seriously the devastation that COVID has wreaked across the planet, family and friends of clients. But personally, I've been doing fine.
Yeah.
Now, life finds a way. But when everybody's complaining about 2020, I'm like, 2020 has been great for me. And then 2021 came and some personal things just came and kicked me right in the teeth. Buddy, you're never past, taking a loss. So there's that too. But, if anything, what has taught me more than ever is to drill down on what I preach to other people and to practice it, which I do anyway. But even more so now, I think it's given me an even more intimate connection with people who just aren't where they want to be. Because when I look at my situation, I can find a way to relate and synergize the message, and I think it brings even more authenticity out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you sharing for all of that with us, because it's been a wild year and some people have struggled, but there's also been so many beautiful things that I feel like have come out of the past year, like just the ability to connect at deeper levels with family and to like really turn inward and figure out who the heck you are and what you want to do and how you want to show up to make an impact in the world, and like go back to your value system and what your mission and your vision really is for your business is such a key piece of this past
Yes.
year for so many people. And I can totally relate to what you were talking about like being an empathetic person, like being an empath. Like we can easily hold on to like everybody else's feelings and their emotions and the things that are going on. So um, it's been a wild year for those of us that feel deeply and really connect and have like that sensitive soul.
Yes.
So yeah, I can completely
Yes.
relate. But
How
yeah,
are you?
I'm doing amazing. Yeah, I'm very much like you. Like it's been a
Great.
very blessed year, and I can't complain. Like other than I'm so tired of being home, and I can't wait to travel somewhere, like anywhere. I can't complain.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
travel is a way of life. Go ahead.
no, sorry, our internet's a little laggy today, so we might
I
talk
was saying,
over each other just a tiny
oh yeah,
bit.
no worries. I was saying travel. Yeah, travel is a way of life for me. I came to this country as an immigrant. I was born in the UK. My father's Nigerian. My mother's Nigerian of British descent and association. So travel has always been just a way of life, and it has been really strange to like not have been anywhere. I mean, not even domestically, not have been anywhere for a year and some change. And I think about it as stuff like vaccines are rolling out and becoming more available to everybody. I wonder, I'm bouncing around a little bit, but I'm also a lot of teams that are not in my local jurisdiction. So I have no problem traveling. I had no problem traveling to go to games, concerts, or whatever the case may be. And that was very much a part of my social outlet. And now I just wonder, I'm a season ticket holder for the Philadelphia. They sent me a notice like, hey, we're going to start opening up the arena and letting some people come in. We can't wait to see you. And I was just like, I'm not ready for that. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I'm not ready to do that. And I really want to go, but but when faced with the actual, do I put some money down towards that? I'm not ready for that yet. So I'm interested in when I will be. I'm not really sure exactly what I need to see or hear for that to happen. But talking about travel and things of that nature, I look forward to it. Man, I don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And it's gonna be one of those things where the world might open back up, but everybody's gonna have their different level of comfort and like reacclimation to what that actually looks like. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting because as much as I want to hop on a plane and go anywhere right now, I'm not actually ready either. So we'll keep you updated when we're gonna start traveling.
Mhm.
But Kuti,
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I would love to hear your story. Take us back, like when you first realized like you had this entrepreneurial spirit in you and you wanted to go off and start this amazing business. What did that look like? What were you doing and kind of what brought you to where you're at today?
Wow. So I talked about my father before and his health, and the episode in 2019, second, so he had where he was critically ill. Rewind, well over a decade previous, he almost took him out. At the time, none of us extended family realized he had blood pressure issues, so we didn't know what it was. We just knew that he wasn't feeling well. He's having these weird kind of spells because there's so many. Like I said, we're immigrants, so there's so many doctors and pharmacists and nurses in the families. Of course, it's the reaction is take him to the hospital, take him to the doctor, and he goes to the doctor and he's feeling fine. He's talking just the way I'm talking to you now. But when they take his blood pressure, it is such an abnormally high number that if you cut it in half, it would be high blood pressure. They couldn't even believe he was alive. And that turned into him being in the hospital. From that moment, being in the hospital for about, I think, 10 straight days. And in that 10 straight days, I was by his side and he flatlined twice. Um, Now, he got stabilized. Everything got sort of brought back to normal. But in the span of those 10 days, I, I went to his house and just threw out anything that could remotely trigger his high blood pressure. Whatever he had in the fridge or cupboard, it was in the trash. And I started studying. I studied like literally nutrition, textbook standpoint. Took a course, got certified in textbook standard nutrition, simply because I wanted my dad to live. And you know how it is when you get new information that's good information, you want to spread it. So as I'm learning all these new things, I'm telling people, man, did you know if you eat this and do this and do this and do it? And I was always sort of the healthier guy. Like when I look back on who I was versus who I am now, that guy was sort of healthy. I'm way healthy to the field. I was the healthy guy. I was the guy who worked out as a habit and didn't think anything of it. I was the guy who ate more vegetables. Well, I still ate meat a lot, and I'm still not a vegan, but I still ate regularly, but I didn't do as many starchy carbs and all that kind of stuff. All the blatant stuff that you're not supposed to do was typically the way I ate. I say do have a sweet tooth. So dessert was,
That,
never
that's
off limits.
that's totally
All
me.
right. Hey, we're in this together.
Yep.
All that, as a layperson, I worked out more than most people. As a layperson, I was way more nutritionally aware than most people. And I was in the music business, as you mentioned in the intro. And at this point, I had segued from being an executive to working in management. And the artist that I was managing or co-managing at the time, we kind of hit a space where we couldn't go any further until we got a new record deal. The new record deal was being stymied by the old record label. We had toured as much as we could, and we needed a new project to introduce new songs and new energy to get people excited about booking this guy for shows. And at the time, I met the woman that I eventually married, and I knew, and I won't have control over my income because the thing about management is that you get a percentage. So if the artist decides not to move or not to take a deal, then
Yeah.
and while I love music and I love the music business, even now I still vote for the Grammys. I'm still on the Grammy board, but I didn't like the subjectiveness of someone else being able to say whether or not I got paid, got a raise, any of that kind of stuff. I wanted to be able to just harness it for myself. So I was at a crossroads, and a friend of mine was a personal trainer. a really successful one. And I never even thought about personal training. He saw me working out in the gym one time. And at this point, because I was known in my circle of friends as the healthy one, anytime somebody wanted to work out, they'd come with me.
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, this is what I do. And it works for me. So if you want to do it, you can do it too. And I work out by myself traditionally. So if you want to work out with me, the more the merrier, come on. And I didn't pay attention to the fact that I slowly but surely was building this entourage of people who would come to the gym with me. But the gym noticed. So people in the gym managers and the gym trainers were like, hey man, you can't train in here. We've got our own trainers. You can't train in here. And I was like, working out, we swear, like I'm, I'm not getting paid. And then one of the trainers pulled me aside, was just like, you're not a trainer? And I was like, no. And he's like, need to be. And I was like, man, trainers don't make money. You must get out. He's like, man, because what he was telling me was that everybody else in the gym, like when trainers were training their clients in this gym, they would look at I was doing, say, why aren't we doing what he does? Why aren't we doing what they do? I want to do that. So that's how the attention was being attracted. I didn't even know. I was just in my corner, just doing my thing with my friends or friends of friends. So all that said, I'm fast forward. I decided to give it a go, thinking it'll just be something seasonal till the management thing kicks in. And as soon as I hit the market as a trainer, it just took off. It just took off. I just word of mouth. I started getting clients left and right. The clients were having success stories that were the kind of testimonials that to this day I still post as evidence, because even I can't believe it sometimes about me. And in that, you start to find out that you got a gift. And when you understand what your purpose is in life, and you understand, and mine is helping people, and all of a sudden I was doing something that was legitimately helping people's lives improve. And once I owned that, it was hard to unsee and it was hard to shake. And I've been doing this ever since.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love how like so many entrepreneurs go out searching for what their passion is. And it sounds like your passion like snuck up and found you without you even looking for it, which is so cool because there's nothing better than doing work that you love and it not feeling like work, right? Like you were working even though you didn't know you were working at the time. And that's like the beautiful thing about entrepreneurship, when you can just like really encompass like what it is that you love doing and show up and really shine in that atmosphere. And it sounds like that's what you've been able to accomplish so far.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. It's been an absolute blessing to be able to help people. And you approach the gig the way I approached the gig, because there's a split second I remember where I was like, okay, I got to get money. So I start chasing money. Everything just crashed. I mean, just crashed miserably. And then I went back to, I got to help people. And everything that I had with the rest of the stuff has found its way to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you say that. I was just having a conversation recently with a client and we were talking about the exact same thing, about how when you can work for your passion and like the mission and helping other people, like the compensation comes because of that. But when we do it in the opposite direction and we're like so focused on making money, we forget and we lose focus of the fact that like why we're actually here and like what we love to do and why we do it. So it's such an important like reframe for so many people too. Like do what you love doing, help other people, be kind, be amazing, and the money follows. Like when you show up as your true authentic self and just shine, like it's such a beautiful blessing. But when you're like
Yeah.
money hungry and you're like starving and you're like going after everything with that like I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but like that like hunger that doesn't satisfy, then it's just not as rewarding.
Yeah, it's something that, yeah, it's that's the thing. It's an insatiable pursuit. It I'm fortunate in that I train a lot of people that are senior level executives, business owners, go-getters, and when I'm and tapping into their mentality has been easy, because working in the music business is a bunch of people that are like that. And so when when I come across the and I have a lot of good people that I train, and people who actually have a number like, okay, if I make this much, I'm good. Not that I don't want any more, but I know that if I make this much, I don't have to worry about making that much. And having those kind of conversations, I mean, it's America, it's a capitalist society. So I mean, the chasing a dollar kind of it's reinforced everywhere you go. I like money. I don't want to be I want to be very clear. I mean, the way that I eat and the way I pay for where I live and everything definitely comes down to capital, and I don't want to get shorted on any of that. How What I have found is when I've led with help as the exchange, it's always an abundant thing that I try hard, my hardest to make sure that what I give you always is worth way more than whatever you're going to give me.
Yeah.
So, that and sometimes I have to dig deep, depending on what I'm charging. Sometimes I got to dig deep, but I will dig deep, because helping people is where it's at. And I think I'm just running through my head now, just the relationships that I've formed with my clients over the years. It's. I mean, because initially we engage on a professional level, right? But I take the personal training very seriously. So if you at your pain point, if I'm meeting you at the point where you really need the most help, that's an intimate space. And when you're exercising with people, they're trying something and they struggle and they fail, or they tucker out more than they want to, and they're not as strong as they'd like to present. Man, a lot of stuff comes out. I say hairdressers, barbers, bartenders, and if you got the right personal trainer, we get a lot of stuff, man. I got a lot of, this shoulder gets wet sometimes, pre-COVID, and not from sweat, people crying. And but once you've met somebody there, and then together we team up and overcome, and health is wealth. You get healthier, you got a new lease on life. Yeah, we gonna be friends. You stuck with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally relate to that because as a coach, like I hear everything. I know everything that's going on in my clients' lives. And I always joke too. I'm like, I feel like a bartender right now. I'm like, tell me all the things, what's going on. So I can totally relate to that.
Right.
What would you say has
Maybe
been
I could start like a veggie juice bar.
right? Oh, for sure. What has been one of like the biggest things as starting your own business that feel like you've had to overcome when it came to like you pursuing this dream?
Well, again, as I mentioned, I was in a different industry, heck of a pivot to go from like record label jet setting exec to, you know, personal training and fitness and nutrition and wellness. And so, now I'm old enough to realize that if I decide I'm going to do it, 9 times out of 10, I'll be successful with it. But the unknown of jumping out of something that's and love, and then wondering if you will be successful, especially on your own. Now, I'll say this: everybody told me I'd be a successful trainer, so I don't think I necessarily questioned that, or else I wouldn't even have tried. But being a successful trainer for myself, when I in the studio, so I was working for somebody, and jumping from there to, okay, I'm going to not only have I pivoted industries, but now I'm going to jump out and do this and buy my own brand, my own business. If I had known that I would be this good this quick, I probably would have done it even sooner. I probably wouldn't even have hung out as long as I did, working for the person. And I didn't hang out long. Another thing I had to get over is, and I'm still just now kind of getting over this, is as a solopreneur, you're used to doing everything yourself, and outsourcing certain things just so it can free up your lines and your bandwidth is crucial. Now you got to vet who you're with and who you. That said, if I was I think that was probably the biggest thing, was realizing when to partner up with somebody and when not to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people can connect the dots with that, because I think that's a common theme. Like when you leave one industry and you go into another industry and you're doing it on your own, you're so used to knowing, like you have the skill sets for your past job, and like you learned all these things and you know what to do, and you get in there and you do it. And then when you start your own business, like you're doing everything in your business. Like you're like, I'm sending out newsletters, I'm trying to figure out what my processes are for my business, what my systems are, um, what my brand looks like. I have to build a website, I have to make copy, I have to do all these things. And you don't realize until you get into the mix. You're like, oh my gosh, there's so many components to running a business. You're like, this is hard work. It looks so easy from the outside, and then you hop into it and you're like, okay, this is way more than I can handle. Or you start realizing like, ooh, I do need to hire some help. I need to bring some experts in, whether it's a virtual assistant or and I love that you mentioned too, like collaborating with the right people, because there's a lot of people out there that you can connect with. And if you don't have the same values, your brands are going to clash, and it's not going to feel like the right relationship, and it can do damage sometimes too. So I think it's important that we really take a look at every partnership that we're doing and make sure that there's similar values, similar missions for where we're going. Otherwise, it's like one of those things that can impact your personal brand, and then that stays with you for a long time.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, for sure. And sometimes the missions rhyme, the acumen does not. And that can just really stink, But fortunately, even through the missteps, there's always been some little canary in the mine for me throughout this journey that has let me know that I'm going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say is like your definition of success?
Mm, my definition of success. My definition of success would be anything that understanding who you are, understanding what fulfill that purpose, and fulfilling that purpose in a manner that not only benefits you, but anyone that's important to you.
Mm, yeah, I love that. Thank you. Um, Tell us a little bit about like what does a dream client look like to you? Can you tell us like maybe a story about a client that you've worked with, or some of your favorite ways to work with your clients?
Dream clients. Wow. I will say this, the less dreamy the client, the more excited I get because it gives me an opportunity to figure something new out. And I'm such a nerd. And in terms of my research with each of my clients, that I have files on every single client because I see patterns. It helps me with the next client that's in that case. So if I have a diabetic, in year one, then come year four, I remember, and I always name the program after the first client of that type. So that said, without mentioning names, because if I mention one name, another client's going to be like, "Wait, I thought I was your dream client." But I'll say this: the dream client is the compliant client. The dream client is the client that knew they came to me, hired me because they had a reason, because they needed help, acknowledged me as the expert that's going to help them, and then has faith in what I'm and then does it. When I have clients that do that, they hit their numbers like clockwork. And it's brilliant to see. I have a client right now that we've been training for a little bit over a year. And when I first got this guy, I still have the initial note that he sent me when he was hiring me. And he was like, "Look, I have zero gym and I ride bikes daily, but that's it. I don't even know my way around the gym. I don't know anything about weights. I know nothing about nothing. This guy's chin ups now. He's got muscles. He's cut. He's at like he averages like 10% or less body fat. All this jazz. I mean, even I average 10% body fat right now. Like I am jealous of my client. That's a dream client. When I'm looking at my client, like, man, look at it gives me joy because this guy just followed everything I told him. He got it, he understood it, and it was just off to the race. It isn't like that. However, that doesn't mean that, again, like I led, that doesn't mean that I'm not intrigued, because I know some trainers that don't like working with clients that are challenging.
Yeah.
Whereas to me, I'm here for the challenging client because, you know, it's like saying, I don't know, it's like being a lawyer and saying work with people who have open and shut cases. Like, that's not even a good example. I think that what I'm saying is that if the bigger the problem, I'm needed, the more what I'm doing is necessary. So if you're obese or you've got, you know, type 2 or whatever it is, come on, because I'm here to help. And if I can't do it, I'll give it every shot I can, and that I got to do in the background to help you out. I will do that because that's how seriously I take my purpose. So yeah, on one hand, this client, well, easy is nothing. The easiest client is the compliant client. The dream client is the one who is at their rope's end, has a situation that just seems untenable, and then we succeed together. Oh man, that just makes me feel so great when it's all done. You know, I can't tell you how many times a birthday party for, you know, a client, because most of my clients end up becoming friends.
Yeah.
And I'll meet somebody in their family or in their circle, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're Kuti," and I'll be like, "Why?" And they'll be like, something, maybe they're complaining about their session. They'll be like, "Well, we knew XYZ when they were boom boom, and now they're healthy and no longer insulin dependent, or they lost, you know, half their weight. You know, they used to weigh 250 pounds, now they weigh 160. You're the reason." Handshake. That, man, that's that. And a doctor, any of my clients' doctors reports saying, "Hey, whatever you're doing, you need to continue doing because it is working miracles." Those are the two. That's why I do this.
Yeah.
That's why I do this. Those are my report cards. That's what I look for every single client.
I so love that. Like your passion for your clients and like the partnership that you create with them totally shines through when you're talking about it. And it totally lights you up, which is like the best thing ever for any business owner. So I'm so honored that you're here just telling us all about this and sharing your journey of like how you work with your clients and like the amazing movement that you're creating in the world to help people really figure out who the heck they are and like how to get back to like that healthy place for themselves. So thank you for that. Before we wrap up, I
Thank
always
you.
love to do some rapid fire questions with my guests just to kind of get to know Kuti just a little bit more so that we can have some fun and you don't have to go crazy
Okay.
deep. But I'm curious, and I'm actually really curious about this one. Are you binge watching anything right now? Do you watch any TV?
I do watch TV when I can. The COVID era has provided opportunity for me to actually sit still a little bit. My binge watching night is Friday night, once the kid is asleep, and I just stay up all night and I'll watch things. What was the last thing that I binge watched? Oh, I was catching up on WandaVision.
I have
It's a
not seen that.
Marvel, the Marvel Comics deal, and if I didn't understand what I was doing, it was cute, but it wasn't giving me that Marvel thing. And then like come about episode 4 or 5, it just flips on the dime, and then it all makes sense and almost too much sense. And this is freaking incredible. And I start to geek out like I'm geeking out now.
I love it. I have not seen that one, so I will check it out when I'm binge watching my Friday night this week too. What are you
What are
reading?
you watching? Just in case it's something I need to catch up on.
Oh, what am I watching? Bridgerton, is that how you say it? It's the new show on Netflix.
Bridgerton, yes,
Then
yes,
yes, I feel like I'm always saying the
yes.
name wrong. Oh my gosh, it's so freaking good. And I just heard that they're making a season 2. Thank goodness, because I'm like ready for it now.
How?
Who knows?
How? A season two? Okay, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but
Well,
great acting in there, though. Some
oh,
really great acting.
every side of it, from like bringing everybody together and their acting skills, and like you can feel the scenes, like the passion come through. It's such an incredible, and it's like I think it's based in like the 1800s, so it's like a super fun era. I totally would have loved to have been alive back then. What are
Yeah,
you,
yeah. For
what are
sure.
you reading? Do you have a book on your nightstand?
I have a book on my nightstand called it's called The Toxin Terminator. I did an interview on this podcast, and it's called the podcast is also called The Toxin Terminator, and I was just so it's you would think it's not that. Let me back up. You would think that fitness professionals all kind of speak the same language, but that approach when it comes down to nutrition and detoxification, Amy and I were just like we've been known each other, and she was gracious enough to shoot me her book, and I love it. And for anybody that's really trying to get themselves together, she dives deep in a way that you can't understand, but you'll sit back and marvel at how many how many toxins are around you. And when she tells you, she kind of tells you, okay, look, this is all happening, this is all real, don't freak out, but here's some bite-sized ways to get started on being healthier and being better. But yeah, The Toxin Terminator, I'm reading that right now. I'm trying to if there's any other books that I'm reading, because I've got a stack of them. I try to keep myself reading or listening to an audio book, but lately business has kind of distracted me. But yeah, Toxin Terminator, that's the book I'm reading right now.
Awesome. I'll have to check that one out because it's definitely an interesting topic.
Amy
What,
Carlson is her name. Amy
Amy
Carlson.
Carlson.
Mhm.
Awesome. And um, who has been the biggest influence in your life? If you could name one person.
Wow. The biggest influence in my life. My mother. My mother is an entrepreneur, a successful businesswoman, um, uh, an amazing human being. She's a she's big in the community. She's big in the boardroom. She's big in the family. She sets an incredible example. She's actually astute in terms of just her financial competence is untouched, and she's instilled that in my sister and I since we were kids. My sister's an accountant. She and just her pursuit with life. She loves life, and she's very fair. She gives you space to be you, but always has a word of advice when you're ready for it. And she's strong. My mother's amazing.
Yeah.
My
Amen.
dad's dope too, but
Amen for
I,
moms.
I'm but I gotta give that to my mom.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and she likes nice cars. I got that.
You're like, you can go car shopping with mama. That's a good match.
I have. I have. I mean, man, I've been with, yeah, man, we've gone car shopping, man. My mom is amazing.
I love it. I'm curious what your morning routine looks like.
Morning routine. Ooh, so probably wake up at 4, meditate, pray, read some scripture, have something to keep my mind right. Um, I will juice some green veggies. I take minimum spinach and cucumber. Have that within 90 minutes of waking up before you do anything else. I'm telling you, if you do it, it will change your life. I'm giving everybody that for free. All right, juice veggies, no fruit, just veggies. Um, then I look over my day in terms of clients and look at their sessions, look at their numbers, and see if there's anything I need to tweak before I actually start training them. Once I train them, I think actually somewhere in the morning, especially now in the COVID era, my daughter's going to run down from her virtual school and say good morning to her. She's a star. Every one of my clients knows my daughter because she always will pop in a session, and she's cute enough to get away with it. and and then if there is time in between sessions, I always try to find some time to do at least 5 minutes of working out. I have these moves called super moves that are literally a whole workout in like 4 to 6 minutes or less. If you go to my Instagram page, you can hashtag Friday Finishers, you'll see some of them. Then I take some time to do my admin, cook, and then from there, like once the midday hits, then if the family brings something to me that I need to address, I kind of deal with it from there. And those are my days, Monday to Friday at the time. Like I said, Friday night, I put everybody to sleep and then start binge watching.
You're like, and then it's my time, which totally brings me to my next
Right.
question. What is your happy spot when you need to like reflect or reset and recharge? Is there something you like to do or somewhere you like to go to do that?
It used to be music, and I still love music. But this sounds wild as I'm saying it because I was never this guy. I've been running for years. I started running when my daughter was about to be born because I wanted to, I wanted to be, I disliked running so much and I saw how uncomfortable pregnancy could be. I was like, you know what? I want to empathize. As an empath, I wanted to be able to come home and just feel as uncomfortable as she did. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go for runs and just put myself in what I consider, even as a fitness enthusiast. And the habit stuck. And I run on purpose. And now, given all things, life, that 30-minute run is the one time where I'm just sort of just by myself with my, so running is my sanctuary now.
Yeah.
I'm
laughing.
Crazy. I can't believe I said that.
I'm laughing because I always joke with my family and my friends that if I'm running, there's a bear, so you better friggin' bolt out of here. I'm like, because I'm not a runner either.
That used to be the case. And I'm a lifelong athlete, but I was a sprinter, so 100 meters, 200 meters, maybe 400, but a mile. If I was running a mile when I was an athlete, it meant that I did something wrong. The coach was mad at me, and I was being, up until maybe 2 years ago, saw running as punishment. But I actually, started competing in 5Ks and started getting medals and stuff. It's kind of funny to me now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And I'm like, you definitely need to see a bear if I'm running, but that's okay. I have other things running.
So if you're running, we need to run too. If you're running, we need to run too,
yes,
huh?
Run. And my last question for you is, if I could give you a plane ticket and send you anywhere in the world, which I know I can't do right this second, but if I could, where would you travel to and why?
I've been a lot of places. So it would have to be somewhere that I have not been before. Or somewhere I loved to go. Man. Wow. Where do I want to go next? Somewhere super far, like Tahiti.
That sounds
Something
good.
like Tahiti, I think would either Tahiti or somewhere continental Africa that I haven't been. Maybe the Mauritius Islands or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I've got family all over the planet. So,
Yeah.
I've been a lot of places. But yeah, I haven't been to those two.
Yeah. Well, hopefully one day soon you can
And if you haven't been, go to Bali. Go to Bali. You will love it.
Bali
Love it.
Bali is actually on my list as like the top place that I always think about going next would be to Belize. I keep seeing like these beautiful like resorts, like the little tiki houses on top of the water, where like the glass bottom of the house. And I'm like, oh, that so needs to be me. I need to be there. That's like my haven. It sounds amazing.
It is. So check this out. My honeymoon was in the Maldives. And the first time I ever saw those tiki houses with the glass bottoms, I just see those pictures on posters that would say, something really profound. And I was like, what is that? And I kept Googling the house on the water, and the Maldives came up. So that's where
That's
we
where
went
you
for our
went.
honeymoon. And let me say, Maldives was flawless. Now, what I heard back then was that fast forwarding to now, in a couple of years, the expectation is that the Maldives will be completely submerged underwater.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping that COVID lifts before you get it, before that happens, so you get a chance to go there. Go to the Maldives, view hut on deal, go to the Maldives.
Okay.
Go to the
I
Maldives.
will, I will,
That's where you
I will,
want to go.
I'm going to research it as soon as we wrap up our call today because I'm itching to go anywhere. And it's,
Everything you see in the pictures, everything you see in the pictures are literally the way it looks. I remember taking pictures with my phone and everything looked like a postcard.
that's awesome.
Go.
Yeah. Kuti, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your story with us. Where can people connect with you at? Where do you send them to?
I love for people to connect with me on Instagram. You get a chance to see what's going on with me in terms of fitness and nutrition, but also just life in general. And that's at Kuti Mack, at K-U-E as in Tom, I-M as in Mary, A-C-K. At Kuti Mack on Instagram is the best way to catch me. Facebook, you can find me at BYBD Fitness. That's Be Your Best Daily Fitness. So BYBD Fitness. So you just enter that. You'll find my page on Facebook. And that's two ways to get me.
Perfect. And I know you have a free gift for everyone.
I forgot one. My website, BYBD Fitness and Nutrition. That's home base for me, and you can find Instagram and Facebook and all that jazz on my actual website. So you can do that too. BYBD Fitness.
Perfect. And then I know you have a free gift for everybody. Can you tell everybody what that is and where to find it?
Yes, for indulging me and my conversation, my story, and especially as we've been talking about how stressful 2020 was and 2021 still sort of feels like. What I have are what I call the BYB de-stressors. They are 6 of my absolute favorite and effective ways to totally de-stress. And the beauty of it is most, if not all of them, work in 60 seconds or less. So what I want you to do, we just talked about how you can contact me. Find me on Instagram or like my Facebook page. So at BYBD Fitness, and just send a note or a DM to me saying stress. And I'll know that if you just send me a message saying de-stress, I'll know that you heard me here or saw me here, and I will send you. Oh, and send me your email address too. And I'll send you absolutely for free my 6 favorite ways of de-stressing. And they work. You've got 6 options. So one doesn't work as well as the other. No big deal, because one of them's going to work. And that one that does work, you'll be so amazed that you actually now have this power.
Yes. Amazing. Kuti, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been so fun talking to you. And I just wish you so much success as you continue on this journey.
Thank you for sharing your platform. This has been amazing. You're amazing. I love your show. I love what you do, and it's an honor to be here. And if you need me for anything else, just let me know. I'll gladly do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's another episode of the Attract and Stand Out podcast. We will see you next week. Go out there and be awesome.